My first case is of Mr. and Mrs. Lorne. Mr. Lorne absolutely loved birthdays. On his final birthday, he received two elaborate birthday cakes, one from his family and one from an organization they both belonged to, which pleased him immensely. He loved the attention, loved the gifts, loved getting two cakes. Now, Mrs. Lorne had the misfortune of being born in late December, and her family not having much money was used to her birthday being overlooked mostly. Naturally, Mr. Lorne remedied this after, they were married. Her birthday became a big deal, but for, her entire childhood and, early adulthood growing up, no birthdays. But, so she couldn't help teasing him about him getting two birthday cakes when for most of her life she didn't receive any. Well, he laughed and he told her that this year he'd see to it that she had two cakes as well, and then, they'd be square. Unfortunately, a week later, he died of a massive heart attack. Now, the holidays were understandably hard on her that year, and her family didn't live nearby, and her friends didn't know when her birthday was. Like I said, her birthday was no big deal to her, so she didn't, advertise it. And so on her birthday, she was just sitting alone on her couch, grieving, missing her husband, just feeling incredibly alone. And then there was a knock on the door. And so she opened the door, and it was her friend, and she had a cake and a carton of ice cream. She had caught a bus and came all the way across the city to bring it to her. She said that she had just gotten home from work when she heard Mr. Lorne's voice, loud as day, clear as if they were in the same room. And he told her that it was Mrs. Lorne's birthday and that she should hurry out and buy her a cake. No sooner had the two ladies finished celebrating and eating a slice of cake than a young lady that was boarding with Mrs. Lorne came in with a box that also contained an elaborate birthday cake. Mrs. Lorne had never mentioned her birthday to her boarder or anything. And so, it looks like Mr. Lorne kept his promise from beyond the grave. We can't dismiss the possibility that perhaps Mrs. Lorne unknowingly transmitted her needs telepathically, like that in her grief while she's sitting there on the couch, she, sent this need for her birthday out there, and that it manifested itself in the form of a visit from Mr. Lorne to her friend, and that her boarder, that it just attracted her to it, let her know what to do. The brain's an incredible thing, and we don't understand it so fully yet. We don't understand it fully, and this could be a psychic projection, a manifestation on her part in the form of her husband's voice to her friend and just her need to her boarder. It could just be that her friend knew when her birthday was. It was her friend, and even if she didn't tell her, you can figure these things out. The boarder might have known it was her birthday by various means and wanted to surprise her, and they both would have known she was having a hard time. Although I can't imagine her friend would bring up her dead husband if that wasn't it. But those are possibilities, right? Absolutely. But I think that her husband reached out from beyond the grave to keep a promise that he had made to her in life, and one that was important to him. Next story I call Communion. Mrs. Lois Baker attended communion the day after her husband died. She went to the early service and just was filled with anguish as she just sat in the pew and thought about the long years that she had left ahead of her alone without her husband. When she felt a presence beside her, and she knew it was her husband, but she never turned to look because she didn't want to destroy the impression that he was there with her, because it was a great comfort. And when she went forward to receive the sacrament, she felt him walk with her down to the altar. She felt his presence beside her as she had in life. And but whenever she knelt to receive the wafer and the wine, he sensed that he left her again, but she was filled with great comfort, and though she no longer sensed him beside her. Now, a few days later, she was visiting with the priest, and he told her this, quote, "As I was turning to face the altar, I had the most peculiar feeling that your husband had knelt down beside you. When you walked to the altar to receive the sacraments, I had to blink my eyes. It almost seemed as though I could perceive a dim outline of John standing just behind you. Yeah, I think he was there to comfort her in her great time of anguish. Again, it could, be a psychic projection. Perhaps that her need generated this image. Now, the reason I say that there's a projection is because, the priest saw the outline of her husband. So we have that validation that he was there, not just a sense or a feeling that she had that he was nearby. We have outside sources confirming, I seen him. So there could be other explanation, but again, it sounds like, her love came from across the veil to comfort her in her time of need. This next one I call Moment of Death. And it is from William Sorensen, and it appeared in the July 1959 issue of Fate magazine. Sorensen, he discovered this account. It was written on like yellowed paper, and it was folded, and it was in an old Bible that belonged to a cousin of his. So that's the origin. This is where it came from. 18-year-old Doris Stark was engaged to Arne Borglum, a cavalryman who was among the first to be called to the front in 1864 when Denmark was attacked by Germany and Austria. The couple planned to be married when Arne could manage a long furlough, but until then he had to go, be with his troop. And it was just after 8 p.m. on April 18th in 1864 when Dora, her parents, her two brothers, and her sister were sitting on the parlor, occupied, reading, knitting, whatever the heck they did in 1864. But they were all gathered, having slight conversation. And Sorensen writes, quote, "Suddenly they saw Arne standing just inside the door leading to a hall. He looked exactly as when they had last seen him, except that he was pale. His blue uniform was splotched with mud, and his saber was missing. The scabbard at his side hung empty. All 5 members of the family witnessed this and rushed to greet him. All thoughts of how he had arrived and gotten to the home so silently were secondary from welcoming the young warrior home. Dora rushed to embrace him, but when she was but a few feet from him, he vanished." The family quickly ascertained what this meant. They knew that he had died on the front. And they were not, surprised. And a week later, they received a letter from one of his comrades telling them how he had perished in fierce fighting on a road near Flensburg. Arne fought off 5 Austrians, but was shot in the back, and his saber was taken from his dying hand. And this happened at the precise time he manifested himself to his love and to her family. So, again, psychic projection from him dying and wanting his last thoughts being so strongly of his beloved that he managed to appear to her at the moment of death. And there's her parents, her 2 brothers, her 2 sisters. So that's 6 people other than her that saw it. Yes, that's a lot of validation. A lot of people saw his apparition. Actually, I think it was 1 sister. So it'd be 5 people besides her. So 6 people total. But saw this apparition. That's a lot of validation. And I think that at the moment of his death, his last thoughts were so strongly of his beloved that he came and seen her one last time, and she as well got to see him. So, stories of love that transcends the veil of death. I got these out of Otherworldly Affairs by Brad Steiger. It's Brad Steiger. It's good. It's fun. It's interesting. Again, great book. And just, 3 of the cases and the accounts that can be found in it. It's a wonderful book. So, hey, check it out.